You ever hear a story so strange, it sticks with you for days? I mean, one of those cases that gets under your skin, makes you double-check your locks at night, glance over your shoulder in a parking lot. This one, it's like that. Her name wasn't really Jane Doe. In fact, we didn't know her name for years. But the town knew exactly who you meant when you said the girl who vanished. It was fall, 2011, in a sleepy little town in upstate Pennsylvania. A place with more trees than people, where everyone knows each other's business, and secrets are hard to keep. Or so they thought. She was last seen walking out of a diner just before midnight. No car. No phone. Just gone. No witnesses, no CCTV, nothing. Like the air swallowed her up. And the strange part, no missing persons report. Not at first. Not for weeks. No one seemed to know who she really was. Not the waitress she worked with. Not the landlord who rented her a room. Not even the cop who claimed to have pulled her over a few nights before she disappeared. She had no real ID. No social. Nothing traceable. Just a name she gave when asked Anna. But here's where it gets weird. Fast forward 10 years, and a DNA test from a crime scene stateside links her, Anna, to a family halfway across the world, a family that reported their daughter missing over 2 decades ago. Only she wasn't 5 years old when she disappeared. She was 17 when she turned up here. What happened in between? Where had she been? And why, after everything, did she vanish again? So, the first real lead in this mystery came from the local diner. The kind of place that's open all night. The kind of place where everybody's regulars, and everyone notices when someone new walks in. Anna worked there. Quiet, polite, always keeping to herself. She wasn't the type to chat much, just took orders, made coffee, smiled faintly when spoken to. Some people thought she was shy, others said she looked scared, like she was always watching the door. But no one really knew where she came from. When the police started asking questions, the waitress had no history. No ID, no family calling, no school records. Just this vague story about running away from a bad situation back east, but no details. It was like she'd erased herself. The landlord who rented her that tiny room above a shuttered bookstore said she kept odd hours, came and went at strange times, sometimes disappeared for days. He thought she might be involved in something illegal. But no proof. Just rumors. The local cop who had pulled her over a week before she vanished said she was polite, no signs of drugs or alcohol, but had this nervous edge, like she was afraid of something or someone. That was the last anyone saw of her before she disappeared from the diner that night. Okay, so here's the thing about that night, October 14th, 2011. The diner was buzzing with the usual late-night crowd. Truck drivers grabbing a bite, night shift workers on their breaks, a couple of teenagers passing through town. Anna finished her shift around 11:45 p.m. According to the last person to see her, a fellow waitress named Carla, Anna was calm, maybe a little distracted, but nothing out of the ordinary. She said goodbye to her co-workers, took her coat, and stepped out into the crisp autumn air. But from there? Nothing. No one saw her get into a car. No one heard a struggle. No screams. No signs of a fight. Just gone. The diner's security cameras? They had a blind spot at the back door where Anna left. The front door footage showed no one leaving with her or suspicious people lingering. And the street lights? They flickered that night, leaving the sidewalk in near darkness. The next morning, when Anna didn't show up for work, Carla tried calling her. No answer. She even checked the small room Anna rented above the bookstore. Empty. The landlord said she had packed up everything the day before and disappeared. The police were called, but without a missing persons report filed earlier, and with no clear signs of foul play, the investigation stalled. They treated it as a runaway case. But something about Anna's disappearance didn't sit right with those who knew her. The way she vanished, like she'd never existed at all. Now, here's where it really takes a sharp turn. When the police tried to find out more about Anna, her background, family, anything, they hit a wall. She had no ID, no driver's license, no passport, nothing that could verify who she was. The only name she ever gave was Anna, but even that was untraceable. No school records, no birth certificate, no social security number. It was like she'd vanished from the system long before she showed up at that diner. Local authorities ran her fingerprints through every database, no hits. They checked national missing persons lists, nothing. It was as if Anna had lived her entire life off the grid. What's even more puzzling is that a few months after she disappeared, a few neighbors mentioned strange phone calls coming to that room above the bookstore. No one answered, but the landlord said the caller seemed desperate, sometimes angry. Who were they? And why were they looking for her? That's when a cold case detective from a neighboring county stepped in. He took one look at the file and said, "This isn't just a runaway. There's more beneath the surface." Detective Mark Holloway wasn't your average cop. He had a reputation for digging where others gave up. When he saw Anna's case, something clicked. He requested that they send her DNA to the national database. Routine check, but one that hadn't been done before. Weeks passed and no matches came back. Then out of nowhere, a hit appeared. The DNA matched a family living thousands of miles away, in England. The family had reported their daughter missing. But not recently. Over 20 years ago. Their daughter, Emily Clark, vanished when she was 5 years old. That was the first puzzle piece no one expected. If Anna was Emily, how did she get from England to a small town in Pennsylvania? And why had she been living under a false name all this time? Detective Holloway began reaching out to international authorities. The family in England was stunned. They had searched for Emily for years but never imagined she might be alive, let alone working late-night shifts in a tiny diner halfway around the world. So let's rewind a little. Anna vanished after that late shift. No trace, no clue where she went. And the DNA matched to a missing child named Emily Clark? That was just a lead. It didn't bring her back. But it gave Detective Holloway something to chase. He started with surveillance footage from the night of her disappearance. Most of it was useless, grainy, dark, and half the cameras weren't even working. But then, from a gas station 3 blocks from the diner, he spotted something. 1:06 a.m. A blurry figure walking fast. Female. Slender build. Coat matched the one Anna wore that night. She didn't look like she was running, but she wasn't strolling either. She kept checking over her shoulder. Then she got into a car. Not a cab. A dark blue sedan with no license plate on the front. The driver never stepped out. And just like that, she was gone again. Holloway dug through hours of nearby traffic cam footage. 3 days later, he tracked that same sedan to a rest stop 2 towns over. From there, nothing for weeks. But a hospital in New Jersey reported a woman brought in under the name Marie Ellis. She'd been found unconscious behind a convenience store, dehydrated, weak, and disoriented. No ID. The attending nurse said she kept murmuring the name Anna. The hospital ran a DNA test after seeing a local bulletin, and bingo. It was her. She was alive. Barely. After weeks of chasing shadows, Holloway finally had her. Anna, or Marie, or maybe Emily, was lying in a hospital bed in New Jersey, hooked up to N4, drifting in and out of sleep. Her face was thinner. She looked like someone who'd been running for a long time, not just from people, but from her past. The hospital staff said she hadn't spoken much. The few times she was awake, she asked where she was. She didn't mention the diner. She didn't mention Pennsylvania. But once, just once, she asked, "Is he still looking for me?" That question haunted Holloway. Who was he? Now, with confirmation of her identity through DNA, linking her to the Clark family in England, Holloway had enough to notify them. But he waited. First, he needed to be sure she could handle it. When she was conscious and stable, he sat beside her, gently explaining what they'd found. The DNA match, her possible real name, her family still alive and searching for her. She didn't cry. She didn't even flinch. She just looked at the window and whispered, "They found me anyway." "They're not the ones who found you," Holloway said. "We did. And they've been looking for decades." A long pause. Then finally, "I don't remember them." Still, she agreed to speak with them. So Holloway arranged the call. Not dramatic. Not emotional. More like a quiet, slow-moving wave. Her mother cried the moment she saw her. Her father just stared, silent, eyes locked on the screen like he was afraid she'd vanish again. Anna barely spoke. She kept her arms wrapped around herself like she was bracing for something. But then, when her younger brother, now an adult she didn't recognize, told her, "I never stopped believing you were out there," something shifted. She whispered, "I don't know who I am anymore." And that was the truth. This wasn't a fairy tale reunion. It was a collision between 2 timelines, one lost in childhood and one born out of fear. Now that she was safe, at least physically, Detective Holloway shifted focus. The big question still hung in the air. Why did she disappear in the first place? And who was this mysterious he she mentioned in the hospital? It didn't take long for patterns to emerge. After questioning staff at the diner and nearby locals, Holloway found a name that kept coming up: Victor Dalton. Mid-40s. Drove a dark blue sedan. Liked to sit at the counter late at night and talk to Anna more than anyone else ever did. Nobody knew much about him. He wasn't a regular anywhere else. Paid in cash. Never caused trouble. But he always sat in the same seat, always ordered black coffee, and always stayed after closing. At first, it seemed harmless. But one of the busboys remembered something odd. He said, "Anna looked tense when that guy was around. She smiled like everything was fine, but you could tell something wasn't right." Turns out, Victor had been spotted more than once sitting outside the diner in his car long after closing. No reason to be there. Just watching. And the kicker? 1 week before Anna vanished, she was seen having a heated argument with a man in the alley behind the diner. That same car was parked nearby. Holloway pulled DMV records. The plates traced back to a shell business in Delaware. Fake name. Fake address. Dead end. So who was Victor Dalton? And what was his connection to a missing girl from England? Back at the hospital, Holloway carefully brought up the name. Anna froze. Her eyes went distant. Then she quietly said, "I don't know his real name, but he used to tell me I belonged to him." Detective Holloway sat across from her, still, patient, as if even breathing too loud might break the moment. "Emily, who was he?" Her voice was fragile. "Vincent. Vincent Carrick." And like a dam cracking open, everything began to pour out. She had grown up in a suburb outside London. Her mother, Marianne Sutton, she was married at the time to a man named James Carrick, Vincent's older brother. They had a son together, making him Emily's half-brother. But something had always been off about Vincent. He was around often, helping out with things, too helpful, too interested, too close. Marianne, her mother, never saw it. Or maybe she did but didn't want to believe it. And by the time Emily was 11, the damage was already done. Vincent had gotten obsessed. Possessive. He believed Emily understood him. He began grooming her subtly, manipulating her emotionally while her parents were too distracted to notice the cracks forming in their home. Then one night, after a heated family argument, he vanished and took Emily with him. No custody, no consent, just a forged passport, a ferry, and a plane ticket to the United States. Emily was told her mother didn't want her anymore, that she had chosen her real family, her husband and son, that Emily had been left behind, and only Vincent cared enough to save her. She was 12 years old. For years after, she lived as Anna Keller. Vincent moved her from town to town. No school. No friends. Just a life of secrets and survival. And the worst part, she started to believe his lies. Until she began working at that little diner. The one place where life felt semi-normal. Customers who remembered her name. Coworkers who shared fries and laughed on slow nights. She'd sneak looks at people her age and imagine a life she'd never get to live. But Vincent, he watched everything. He saw the hope coming back into her. And he hated it. So she ran. That night, the one where everything spiraled, she packed her things and slipped away. No plan, no phone, just fear and instinct. She lived off the grid for nearly 2 years after that. Working odd jobs, staying in shelters, hiding. Then one day, she got sick. Really sick. She passed out in the back alley behind a motel diner, and someone called for help. She was brought to the hospital under a fake name. But when she came to, she told the nurse she needed to call someone. A number she had memorized from years ago. It was her mother's. And against all odds, Marianne answered. That call. That's what started everything. The reason Detective Holloway even got involved. Marianne had never stopped searching. She had mourned her missing daughter for over a decade, torn apart by guilt and silence. And now, here she was. Her daughter, back in her life, broken, yes, but alive. So, after all those years lost in the shadows, a girl once thought to be gone forever finally speaks. Emily, stolen, manipulated, erased from the world, is back. And her truth? It's darker, deeper, and more twisted than anyone ever imagined. Vincent Carrick, the man everyone overlooked, may have disappeared, but the scars he left behind are very real. Emily is home. But is she safe? Is it really over? Or is this just the calm before a much darker storm? And there are still questions unanswered. Who helped Vincent vanish without a trace? Why did he target Emily in the first place? And most importantly, where is he now? Stay close, because in part 2, we're diving even deeper. Into the aftermath, the courtroom drama, and a shocking twist no one saw coming. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.